Welcome to Pass the Color, Portland District Library's latest Littles art project. My name is Miss Eileen and I'm going to be helping you complete your project today. You should have already picked up your Take and Make bag here at the library. That's going to have all the supplies that you need to complete today's project, except for caregivers, we are going to need some water to fill the spray bottle, but I'll go over that in just a few minutes in our step-by-step instructions. So today we are going to be creating art using paper, a spray bottle filled with water, and what's called bleeding tissue paper. In just a minute, I'm going to go over what's in your Take and Make bag, and then I'll show you some step-by-step instructions for how to complete your project. Are you guys ready? Let's get started. Here on the table in front of me is everything that is in your Take and Make bag. So you should have two different templates with characters on them. There's a chameleon and a butterfly, and then you have two blank sheets. And the blank sheets are just so that you can kind of create your own designs if you'd like to. Then you should have some sheets of tissue paper and some squares of tissue paper, along with an empty spray bottle, and caregivers, you will want to fill that with water because we're going to be spraying our artwork when we get things set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my first design and I'm going to do the chameleon. So I'm going to take all the other sheets of paper and set those aside and put him in front of me. And here is where your little one can have a choice. You can either use the squares that are already cut, or a really great fine motor skill for this age group is actually tearing tissue paper with their hands. So if you do decide to use the sheets of tissue paper, again, a really great fine motor skill is just encouraging your little one to tear the sheets. And they can do big pieces, little pieces, but this act of just tearing them is really great for building those finger muscles and getting them ready to hold writing utensils as they get a little bit older into preschool and kindergarten. So I'm going to choose to use the squares that are already cut. And this is a special, both the sheets and the squares of tissue paper are a special kind of tissue paper called bleeding tissue paper. And that means that when they get wet, the color comes out of the tissue paper onto whatever paper we have underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange my tissue paper squares in a fun little design on my chameleon. You can decide where you want to put your tissue paper. Again, you could use really big pieces of tissue paper and have your designs be a whole color. I'm going to do kind of like a cool patterned look on mine. And again, this is an art project, so you want to encourage your little one and to do whatever they think is going to look best. This is for them to make decisions and decide how they want theirs to look. And you've got both this design and the butterfly. So the first one can kind of be a test design, and then the second one that you do, you kind of know a little bit more what to expect with it, but you want to cover the whole design because when we are done laying out our tissue paper, we're going to take our spray bottle and spray the entire thing, and that way the color will come out of the little tissue paper squares onto our design. So if you're choosing to maybe do the butterfly first, that's great. If you choose to maybe draw your own design on one of the blank sheets, that's awesome too. Again, this is an art project, so there's a lot of things that you can decide how you want to do them. And when we are all done and everything is dry, we can actually go ahead and cut out our designs if we want to. So I'm not worried about like my tissue paper staying in the lines. But I am going to layer mine. So I'm gonna do this until, again, the whole thing is filled up. And I'm trying to alternate the kind of colors that I'm using. I want mine to look really, really colorful with a lot of different colors throughout. I really like the pinks and the oranges and the greens and the blues. So that's what I'm kind of sticking to. And I am really excited to use my spray bottle here in just a minute. And if at any point I'm going a little bit too fast, you can always pause the video and catch up and then come back to the video when you're done with a certain step. And you can see that they move around, and that's okay. I just kind of keep moving them back a little bit. The important part is you just want to cover the whole thing. Unless for some reason there is a section that you want to keep white, then you definitely don't want to put any of the tissue paper down in that spot. So again, I'm just kind of alternating and switching between colors. So I'm trying to make sure that there aren't two of the same color next to each other. That's how I want mine to look. And you'll notice there are some white squares in your Take and Make bag. Those obviously don't have any color in them, so I'm choosing not to use those because that won't actually give us any color in that spot on our picture. Almost done. I'm getting very excited for the last part of this, where we get to use the spray bottle. Okay, got two more I'm gonna put down. So I'm gonna set aside my extras. I don't want those to get wet during this next part. So now that I've covered my entire picture, I am going to very carefully use my spray bottle to spray the entire picture. Because again, we want to get all the pieces of tissue paper wet so that the color will come out of them onto our paper, our white paper. So I'm just gonna move mine around a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna stop fussing. So I've turned my spray bottle to, let's see here. We want to make sure that on the top it says spray. The other side says stream. We don't want the stream because that's going to be too, it's going to make it so that it's too wet in one particular spot. So I've got mine set to spray, and I'm actually going to spray mine off to the side just to test it, to warm it up kind of. So I've got it set to the correct setting on the spray bottle. It says spray on top. And now I'm just gonna hold it over my picture and spray the whole thing. Some of the tissue paper might move a little bit, and that's okay. And you'll see I've gotten it pretty wet, and almost immediately you can see the colors starting to come off of the tissue paper. And I'm gonna not touch it for about 10 or 15 minutes. You can even go a little bit longer. We want to give it time to have the color come out of the different pieces of tissue paper. All right, so I've given mine about 10-15 minutes to dry and let the water actually help the color come out of the tissue paper. The next step for this project is to peel the tissue paper off because we don't need that anymore. So what I've got here is just a piece of paper towel, and I'm just gonna slowly pick each individual piece off of our artwork template here. And you can see that that color came off onto our design here. I have a little bit more white spots than what I was anticipating, but that's okay. So I'm just peeling that away. All right, so now you can see my completed piece of art here. He's got all sorts of colors running through him, and I'm kind of in love with him. So now what you can do is you can actually cut him out if you want to. Otherwise, you can hang him up as is. But now you can try this again with the other template design that we have, or you can create your own on those blank sheets of cardstock. And you should have enough tissue paper between the squares and those full sheets that you have in your Take and Make bag. Thank you all so much for joining me today for Pass the Color. I hope you had some fun in creating your own works of art using our bleeding tissue paper. I would love to see any videos or pictures of you completing today's project. You can send those to us here at the library at the email address going across your screen now. Again, I hope you have all sorts of fun in creating your art today. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.